Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and good afternoon. Yang berusaha Profesor Dr. Nur Saada Abdul Rahman, Secretary General of Academy of Sciences Malaysia, representing the President of ASM. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dato' Insinyur Teknologis Dr. Ahmad Fauzi Ismail, Vice Chancellor University Teknologi Malaysia, also the Chairperson of ASM Southern Chapter. Yang berusaha Wan Hazami Habib, Chief Executive CEO of the Academy of Sciences Malaysia, panelist for the 1010 My STIE Technology Series and 40th IdeaXchange, fellow and members of Academy of Sciences Malaysia, management and officers at University Technology Malaysia, members from industry, respected guests, and fellow audience. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2024 ASM Southern Chapter Roadshow. My name is Shakira, your MC for this afternoon. ASM strives to be the thought leader for the nation on matters related to science, technology, innovation, and the economy. We provide a platform for exchange of ideas among the academia, policymakers, civil society, and industries. Please enjoy this short video to get a better understanding of ASM. The 2024 ASM Southern Chapter Roadshow is the fourth roadshow after the Sarawak Chapter, East Coast Chapter, and Northern Chapter. These roadshow series are organized to effectively communicate the work of ASM to our stakeholders across Malaysia. ASM expert network and programs are introduced during this roadshow to the scientific community, professional bodies, and the public. Let's begin our second agenda for today, the 40th Idea Exchange entitled Creating the Ecosystem to Position Malaysia as the Business and Services Hub for the Region. As an introduction, the Idea Exchange is a platform to bring together the scientific community, industry, academia, and civil society to discuss on topical issues. Often, this discussion leads to exploration of new studies or initiatives to be carried out by ASM, which later transform into policy recommendation to the government. On its 40th occurrence today, we will discuss the current landscape and strategic initiative to position Malaysia as the thriving hub for the regional business and services. Before we begin, allow me to introduce our moderator for today, Technologist Dr. Muhammad Fahmi Abdullah, CEO of the Metro System Academy, University of Tun Hussein on Malaysia. Technologist Dr. Muhammad Fahmi Abdullah specializes in economics, transportation economics, and technological management. He is currently a senior lecturer at Johor Business School, UTHM. Dr. Fahmi's current research focuses on applied economics and its application in the transportation industry. He enjoys working alongside the local community as well as national and international industry players. Dr. Fahmi is a professional technologist under the Malaysia Board of Technologists in the area of transportation and logistics. He is also active in the Young Scientist Network Academy of Sciences Malaysia, YSN ASM. Without further ado, I would like to pass the session to technologist Dr. Muhammad Fahmi to lead this discussion. Dr. Fahmi, the floor is yours.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Master of Ceremony, for the introductions. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Fahmi Abdullah, and I'm honored to be your moderator today. All right. Together with me is our distinguished panelists. So our discussion today is creating the ecosystem to position Malaysia as the business and service hub for the region. Let me first introduce our panelists. All right. So our first panel is Professor Dato Insinyur Technologist Dr. Ahmad Fauzi Ismail, Vice Chancellor University Technology Malaysia. Professor Fauzi has extensive experience in academia and research, serving as a lecturer, researcher, and administrator. As one of early pioneers of membrane technology in Malaysia, he is a founding director of Advanced Membrane Technology Research Center and chairman of the Malaysia Membrane Society. At the international level, he is the chairman of the Asia Technological University Network and an international advisory board member for the Avicenna Center of Excellence. And then recently, he was appointed as honorary professor by the Dalian Newsoft University of Information in China. Okay, welcome, Dato. All right. So our second panel is Datin Sri Professor Dr. Suhaiza Haning, Datuk Muhammad Zailani. She is Advisory Board, International Supply Chain Education Alliance. Right. So Professor Suhaiza is an expert in supply chain management, PhD in management science. Okay. And she is the professor of the supply chains at the Faculty of Business and Economics, University Malaya. All right. Our third panel is Mr. Arif. Mr. Arif has more than 20 years of professional experience in both public and private sector, investment, developments, and governance. He commenced his career in the investment management at Pemodalan Nasional Berhad before moving the Securities Commission of Malaysia. And then last but not least, our final panel is Professor Dr. Salma. She is Chairperson and Chief Executive Officer for E-Worldwide Group. Professor Salma is a technologist and social activist with over 40 years of experience in technology, innovations, and policy development. She holds degree in civil and electrical engineering and a PhD in ICT for development. Prof. Salma focuses on sustainable development and inclusions and has developed initiative endorsed by UN agency to address the global health, food security, and digital resilience. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are so lucky today because we can sit together and discuss about our topic, okay, with our expert panelists. All right. So this topic actually is very important to us to get more idea, input, and approach that we can provide to the government, all right, in order to improve our policy. So we are not only discussing about the government incentive, but also about the infrastructure and support, educations, and talent development. So we will try our best to make sure that this discussion is not too formal, so that we can get more feedback from the audience. All right. So for the first one, we will start with the presentation from our panelists, and then each panelist will give in 10 minutes for the present. Okay. And then I will ask the few questions to panelists. The final one is the Q&A from the other audience. All right. So now I would like to invite Prof. Dato, all right, to give the presentation. Please welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Fahmi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. So because the time is not too... I would like to share, because I'm from academia institution. I would like to share the ecosystem that could provide some pathway to position Malaysia as a business hub. So it so happened that last month we were announced by the Prime Minister as the first, the formation or establishment of the first AI faculty in Malaysia. Right? So probably generally it's not meant to discuss in detail because the time is not permit. So I would like to stress or just highlight a little bit the role of AI literacy in driving the growth, the ecosystem growth in Malaysia. Next. I control here or someone? Okay. So Malaysia is the location of Malaysia is very strategic. It's a gateway to Southeast Asia. You can see that it's the heart of Asia. Malaysia is a crossroad of South East Asia thriving market. The global connectivity, world-class port, and airport facilities, and multicultural society. We have 3 or more than quote-unquote ethnics in Malaysia, right? So this alone shows that Malaysia is a very strategic location for every countries in the world to come and do business, either socially, economically, or whatever they want to do. Next. Siapa controller? And apart from that, Malaysia so far provide a business-friendly environment to investor, to the business men who would like to come to Malaysia, because ease of operation, the World Bank, the business ranking placed Malaysia at the 12th out of 190 economies in the 2020, and it's good regulatory practices. Second, private sector involvement is very active. Long-term development vision, we have this at the government policy, economic recovery and reform, and political stability. Inshallah, everywhere have political, problem, but in Malaysia, whatever happened politically, but economically, alhamdulillah, we are not that bad. So, as mentioned by Firas Raad, the World Bank Group country manager and representative to Malaysia, moving from 24 to 15 in the global ranking of the World Bank Business Index, that's the Malaysian business environment becoming much more competitive. So I'm not saying this, but it's said by Firas Raad. Yeah. Another one aspect, tourism industry. We have a strategic roadmap for Visit Malaysia 2026. This to show that we are concerned, our government concerned about the environment, about the tourism industry. We create the demand, increasing the traffic, prioritizing the target market, right? Ecotourism and sustainability, we have world-class beaches in Malaysia. We also have an iconic landmark like the Petronas Towers, and now another one is coming, TRX. And we have a rich in heritage. Diverse cuisine, food is lovely. Lazat, lovely. Cantik, sedap. A unique festival offer visitors a memorable experience. So, another one thing, Malaysia is also a hub for healthcare services in this region, right? World-class facilities, have a skilled professional, affordable care, and of course, halal certified treatment. And in particular, Johor and Malacca is a spot, and Penang is a spot for healthcare services for this region. Now, moving into the education and innovation hub. Just to inform, probably we have 20, not probably, we have 20 public university. Just to let you know, UTM alone. Our alumni came from more than 100 countries worldwide. This means that Malaysia could be an important education and innovation hub. So, another one is logistic and supply chain excellence. We have a very efficient transport, warehouse, data-driven logistic, and sustainable practices. This happened now and it's being implemented now. It's available now in Malaysia. Now, AI is a driver of the fourth industrial revolution. AI is actually not new, the word AI. In UTN, way back in 2020, it's already an AI there. But somehow, recently, AI word booming. That's why we're also very happy and very terkejut. Why it's given to UTN, the AI faculty? Is it Asma Ismail? so, because this is important because AI is the way forward. Even though I am not AI, because I am a real person now. Are you artificial? No, you are real, right? Now, the language model to large action model, we need to have this. Integration, human symbolic manipulation with AI. Even though all this, I don't need to read one by one, but the most important thing is humanistic value. Human value that will dominate, that will control the movement, the enhancement of an AI. It's no point. So some people asked me when I was appeared in television, AI might cost the Malaysian about 3 million plus lost a job. I said, that is not really correct. What is AI? Who developed AI? We are the person, the one who developed AI. Like AI car, AI infused car. Who developed that? We developed that. We control that. How come we do not have the job? The content provided by human being. That's why our Prime Minister said, we are lack of about 30,000 engineers in this particular area, right? Next, see what the government have done. The government introduced AI literacy, a national priority. So in Malaysia, they call it AI untuk rakyat, for all the people. So the Malaysian government, in collaboration with Intel Malaysia, have introduced this program to provide a fundamental knowledge about AI, which aim to empower citizens of Malaysia from all walk of life, making AI education accessible to everyone. And from the economic impact, about 13%, improvement into GDP. So AI could contribute up to
about 30% to Malaysia's GDP by 2030, according to World Economic Forum. So please take AI from a positive point of view. Now, as a university, we should nurture AI literacy, right? Or some of you are students, or even the staff. You do not want what happened during the COVID. Even the staff do not know how to use it, certain software. So this is the right time for us to improve the culture, our talent, curriculum integration, research and innovation, AI-driven breakthrough, not only industry, from the healthcare, the agriculture, food, we need this. Even geotropics, we need AI, to further strengthen the field or the area. And let's nurture the AI again, empowering the next generation to thrive in AI. Malaysia's first faculty, as I mentioned, being announced on the 10th of May by our Prime Minister. Now, this opportunity to contribute in the economic sector, AI in the key sector like retail and manufacturing, in healthcare, logistics, hospital. Don't need to go into detail. So if all of us, all Malaysian citizens could understand and value this advancement, I would say in the next 3 to 5 years, Malaysian ranking around could be 13. So
I think challenges, however, ethical AI governance. We need to have this. And for your information, we also at the university level, we are in the process of developing the governance related to AI. The privacy, this morning being mentioned a lot, by you guys about the privacy and the data protection and the accountability and transparency, bias mitigation, and the skill development. If we could have all this, inshallah, shouldn't have any problem. But it's not easy, but it's not difficult. It's not that easy, but it's not that difficult. But what we want is we should have an identity within us, right? We are belong to whom? Which country, which ethnic, and which religion we embrace and stick to that. That is the way we can face this challenge. If we lost this identity, forget it. We are going to be, quote unquote, a scammer in the future without ethical value to deal with AI. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, now let's move on to Prof. Suhaiza for the next presentation. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat tengah hari, salam madani, and very good afternoon. Okay, I'm Suhaiza, the second panelist. I would like to thank you to the Academy Science Malaysia for inviting me to be one of the panelists today for the presentation on the topic of creating the ecosystems to position Malaysia as the business and services hub for the region. Yeah, I'm from Malaya, from the Faculty of Business and Economics. But I'm here today represent the RSCEA, which is International Supply Chain Education Alliance. And I'm the advisor as well, the instructor to the center. Yeah? Okay, just to share what is this institution is all about. Yeah, okay. This Professor Prem Kumar. He's the president of the RSCEA, which we try to develop an institution for the Malaysian chapter on the Supply Chain Education Alliance. In fact, RSCEA is based in US, and we started the idea to establish this institution in 2021. We are in the group of about 10 experts in supply chain in Malaysia. We decided that we need to help government in a way how we can help the industries to overcome the issues of COVID-19, yeah? Because we know that most of the SMEs, most of the small and medium industries, they were suffering during COVID-19, and we can help them in a way to educate how to be more resilient. So Dr. Professor Prem Kumar, he's also the president to the MUST, Malaysia University of Science and Technology, and he is the member of the RSCA in US as well for the Southeast Asia. So he is now championing the institutions, and we are actually basically based in PJ. Technically, he was my first PhD student when I came back from my PhD, and he was doing on topic of the supply chain partnering. And when he was doing his PhD, he was the director of the supply chain in Intel Penang. Yeah? And because of that, he's so keen to help industries how we can move forward in terms of surviving in the COVID-19. So what the SCEA is all about is the institutions that providing the professional development certificates for those industries that wanted to get more idea what is happening now in the supply chain, and we will be giving the certificate to those participants. Yeah. Okay, the SCA Malaysia is a grouping of professionals from supply chain, logistics, and business management. We are dedicated to bringing the latest thinking in smart supply chains. We call it as smart supply chain. I know that, Prof, you were mentioning about how to define smart supply chain, a smart thing. Yeah, it's a way how actually we integrate all those technologies, innovation, and towards the end, how can be resilient, yeah? And to be a center of excellence for SSCM, smart supply chain management, and to reach out to supply, as well to have the inclusiveness, quality, integrity, global outlook, equal opportunity, and so on and so forth, yeah? So these are among the training programs that we have. So it's a very short, within like 3 to 6 months, and we have about 10 academia now engage ourselves as instructors as well the advisors, comprised from UKM, UTM, USM, UUM, and myself from Malaya. So for those who are really looking forward to have all these short courses, please go into the website and we can get more information about this. Yeah. Okay, looking at the impact of the COVID-19, I'm in the area of supply chain, and I feel like it's about time that we have to be integrated. We need to be putting some concerted effort to help the government, because these are the macro effects what we had from our COVID-19. So if we look through all these impacts, actually the key word here is coming from the supply chain. Because during the COVID-19, we are not allowed to do business, because why? There's no cross-border activities being closed up, and we are not allowed to do any operations, and people are not allowed to go out and do the, daily operations, daily working things. So because of that, impacted to the whole economy of a nation, yeah? GDP, the unemployment rate is increased, recession, and so on and so forth, yeah? So of course, as I said, when the cross-border is closed, it gives huge impact to the industry, because they are not getting the supplies at the right time, and they cannot get the supplies at the right quantity. Because why? For those who are doing the global business, talking about the partners from the overseas global supply chain, definitely they're not able to do anything, because they don't get supplies and so more. To have the operations to be operated as a daily one, it was really impossible. So the huge impact here is to the supply chain flowing out from the company. Not talking about the downstream one, but of course it coming from the upstream as well. The suppliers, the manufacturers, all the entires of the members in the chain actually will be affected. Yeah. So when you talk about these issues, definitely there are two coins, side of coins. One industry would be having those opportunities from this COVID-19, especially when we talk about that people are not allowed to go out from the house to get the things, so they have to buy through online. So those who are engaged with the online delivery, those are the ones actually quite survive during the COVID-19. But most of the industry, for example, like automotive, oil, petroleum, and those heavy industries, in a way, they got affected by this COVID-19. Yeah, and what was there during the COVID-19? These are the issues that people are not the supplies. People are not getting the supplies, even though we're talking about the local supplies, and because we are not allowed to be operated, therefore there's no materials being pulled out and flow into the organizations, and that could be given the reasons that we have what unstable financial network, workforce disruption, reduced unpredicted demand, reduced disposable income, and it more and more affected until increase the infection and so on and so forth. Because people are not allowed, afraid to have all these infections. So we are, these are the impacts from the supply chain disruptions. And due to this reason, perhaps we need to have, what is next? What can be as our lesson learned from the COVID-19? Definitely, this motivated us to get to the field, how we can help industry, what will be the next supply chain or next logistics. And we cannot deny that we have to open up a new chapter, a new landscape. What we can introduce here, a new landscape of supply chain and logistics. And of course, this is our new way of doing things at the moment. As we know that now company is not competing with company anymore. Now it's about supply chain competing with supply chain. How effective that supply chain compared to the other supply chain. And supply chain comprised of many players, and it could be long, it could be very short. The moment that you have lots of players, either in the local context or international context, that creates more complexity of that supply chain, and how it can be effective, how it can be productive. Therefore, we need to go and get the new rules of business by doing this or applying the data-driven supply chain. I would love to take back what Dato has mentioned about the data-driven coming from AI. Yeah, that's very now as a trend, I would say environment and trend kind of things that we have to do, that we cannot deny that we need to have all these enablers, the automation, the digital, the technology to help us to be more productive, more effective, and more efficient. So what is there in supply chain? So although we have been talking about data is important, not to say now, previously when we do the business, we rely on data, how we can do the inventory checking, how we can get the demands, how much would be the stock need to be released, and so on and so forth. So we are relying on data, but without the technologies, without the innovations, will be a bit late to get accurate data, will be a bit, inaccurate data, for example, then therefore the decision will be wrong. So therefore we need to rely more on the decision making, how we can come up with the data-driven supply chain, yeah. And this is the reason why the RSCAA being established is to cater the needs of this data-driven supply chain. And what you can see from our website, there are lots of series of workshops, series of training sessions that we have done on this data-driven kind of paradigm, yeah. This is one example. I would say that we go back to the morning sessions that we have on the agriculture about AI, IoT, and so on and so forth. Those are the enablers towards how become more efficient. But the data that we have actually need to be shared to our partners in the same industry, because without sharing the data, it will be isolated. So again, the issues that we are not working in silo anymore. We have to work, putting some concerted effort to make it more efficient, because supply chain is a think tank now doing the business. You are not doing business alone. We have to be in the supply chain, yeah. So as you can see here, it's farmers, manufacturers, chemical industries, so entire of the supply chain itself, they need to have the technologies for them to come up with the data and should be shared, yeah, should be shared. So again, talking about the needs, just to take you away from the supply chain, because some people might have idea that supply chain is only the manufacturers. No, it is about, how you integrate the player to another players by having the logistic activities and ports, railway, lorries, container, ships. Those are the platforms how to be connected from one player to another player. So and therefore, if we don't have the data, we're not driven data-driven supply chain. So the informations about one port to another port that would be affected because we don't really get the accurate times, how much, how long the container can be ready to, upload all the things and goods to be transported to another country. So we need to have data. Again, what we have been discussing this morning about the trust, how transparent the data should be shared. So we need to discuss on whether is there any platform, is there any policy, any mechanism on the procedure, how this can be more in place, yeah? Okay, so this is about the ports. And how do we create the ecosystems to position Malaysia as the business and services hub for the region? So I came up for these kind of 4 questions that need to be discussed. Who are we? And we need to talk. We need to think. We need to ask ourselves, either we are at the downstream or are we at the upstream of the supply chain, or where are we? Since like we are still in the chain, no matter where you are, either up or down, but still you need to be rely on the data. So how much data need to be shared? Yeah. How do we fit in? So the rationalization need to be done. So if the chain is too long, so we want to make it more efficient, we need to shorten the chain. So how do we shorten the chain? Either we go to the global partners or we only can get from the local partners. So that has to be rationalized, yeah? And then how should we fit in? Think about, what can be as the medium for us to share the data, how so that we can fit into the supply chain and how do we get there? So I think by asking these 4 questions, and I think the whole entire of the supply chain, regardless where sector you are coming from, either you are from the manufacturing, you are from the services, we can have, tidy up our chain to become more efficient and more productive in a way that it will be goes back to how we fulfill the customer's demand. Yeah, I think that's all for me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Suhaiza. Okay, now I would like to invite Mr. Arif to give the presentations. Please welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, esteemed panelists. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. My name is Arif Kasburi from IDA. So I'll start with some background on Iskandar Malaysia. So basically, Iskandar Malaysia is also being referred as the Johor economic powerhouse. Why is that? Because 70% of economic activities in Iskandar Malaysia come from Iskandar Malaysia itself, and although the size of Iskandar Malaysia is only 12% to the whole size of Johor, we are the first economic corridor in Malaysia, which is formed in 2006, with a total area of 2,300 square kilometer, with population of over 2 million. And we have almost 5 local authorities within Iskandar Malaysia, ranges from Majlis Bandaraya Johor Bahru, Majlis Bandaraya Iskandar Puteri, Majlis Bandaraya Pasir Gudang, dan juga Majlis Perbandaran Kulai, dan juga Majlis Perbandaran Pontian. And we have 3 administrative districts such as Johor, Kulai, and Pontian. IDA is a statutory body formed to oversee the development of Iskandar Malaysia, and IDA's main role is to plan, promote, and facilitate the investment and development of Iskandar Malaysia. And we work closely with MIDA and Invest Johor and the rest of other stakeholders to achieve our mission to become the strong and sustainable metropolis of international standing. So that's a little bit background of Iskandar Malaysia. So next would be on our CDP, our Comprehensive Development Plan. What is CDP? CDP is basically our master document or master guideline that we use to refer developing Iskandar Malaysia, and the framework focus on 4 areas such as high value economy, productive society, climate resilient, and carbon neutral, as well as integrated and livable city. And each of the focus area has key direction and initiative to achieve the expected growth ambition. So the next one will be on our achievements so far in terms of total cumulative recorded investment of 440 billion from 2006 until end of 2023, of which almost 60% of it has been realized or spent on the ground. For financial and business services sector, we have managed to attract almost 31 billion, and also we managed to create about 850,000 job creation in Iskandar Malaysia, especially within the sector that we promote in Iskandar Malaysia. Next one would be on the various business and services ecosystem that have been created so far in Iskandar Malaysia, ranging from various sectors such as tourism, creative, healthcare, and education. Just to name a few of our example, we have Legoland and S-Park in the tourism sector, and then we have Iskandar Malaysia Studios in the creative sector. In the healthcare sector, we have Gleneagle Hospital, Columbia Asia, and Kumpulan Perubatan Johor, and various educational institutions such as University of Reading, Institute of Southampton, Newcastle University to support the future manpower supply in Iskandar Malaysia. So this is just a few examples. Of course, there are many more, which I don't discuss here. Okay, the next one will be on some of the key quality investment in Iskandar Malaysia, ranging from Paris Baguette, which is originally from South Korea, with an investment of 130 million, which is a global bakery chain owned by the SPC Group of South Korea. And then we have Insulate, which basically a medical device company that manufactures tubeless automated insulin and delivery system. And then we have EcoCares, which is the first sustainable aviation fuel production facilities in Johor. And we have more like Alton, Ferrotech-based, Equal-based, and Penduit. Okay, this is basically to show you on some of the data center investment in Iskandar Malaysia that we receive heavily in Iskandar Malaysia. Some of it like GDS, Yonder, YTL data center, and ByteDance, which is coming into the pipeline. Okay, in Iskandar Malaysia, we not only focus in attracting investment, but also we focus on environmental side, such as to reduce the GHG emission with a target of reduction in carbon intensity emission by 70% by the year 2030. And this has been done by conducting various programs such as the Iskandar Malaysia Eco Life Challenge, Kaspi Iskandar Malaysia, Green Accord Initiative Award, and many more. So technology and innovation play an important role in accelerating economic growth. Thus, the challenges and opportunity presented by new technology and innovation allow us to integrate and then strategically in our development and assist in the coordination of their implementation with our stakeholders. So we basically structure our plan into 3 strategic programs, which is the Smart City Iskandar Malaysia, a program that was initiated in 2012 and has since gained traction and buy-in from local authorities, agencies, and private entities. This program has also gained international recognition and interest in the form of research grant, technical assistance, and funding. The second one will be on the Iskandar Malaysia Urban Observatory, a big data platform that is currently being developed in IDA. And then the third one will be on the digital commercialization program that we basically been doing from time to time. Okay. So the next one will be on a little bit on the Iskandar Malaysia Urban Observatory, which is a big data platform that collect data from various agencies and parties to enable analysis to be done. This will enable scenario planning and inform decision making by policymakers, businesses, and the community to create a more responsive government and dynamic business environment. Whereas the digital commercialization program are structured to ensure local SME are prepared and enabled to transition successfully into the burgeoning digital commerce ecosystem. Most of our programs are jointly funded by the government, by the government grants and private sector, which enabling us to have a broader reach among the SME. And this program are necessary to ensure Iskandar Malaysia remains dynamic, relevant, and in line competitively, regionally, and internationally. So next will be on some of our latest development that is taking place in Iskandar Malaysia, which is the Johor Singapore Special Economic Zone initiative, of which both Malaysia and Singapore government has officially signed a memorandum of understanding on 11 January of 2024, and this would pave the way for higher cross-border trade and investment, as well as strengthening economic connectivity between Johor and Singapore, thus benefiting Iskandar Malaysia in particular and Malaysia in general to be the ideal business and services hub for the region. Okay, so this slide shows you some of the promoted sector that we have in Iskandar Malaysia. We cover 3 manufacturing sector, which is the electronic and electrical. We have petrochem and oleochem, and also food and agro processing. While for the services sector, we promote basically logistic, tourism, financial and business services, healthcare, creative and education sector. Other than that, we are now looking at new sectors such as ICT or data center, modern farming, EV and renewable energy sector to remain relevant and to keep pace with the current development in the industry. So this slide basically shows you about the types of facilitation that we offer to investor, thus helping them to realize their investment in Iskandar Malaysia. And this facilitation services has been conducted by the Iskandar Malaysia Investment Service Center. And the type of facilitation ranges from investment incentive, land and development, expatriate employment pass, and many others. So this slide basically shows you on some of the state-of-the-art industrial facilities and business park in Iskandar Malaysia. To name a few, Nusajaya Tech Park, AME Iskandar Halal Park, Senang Airport City are some of the good examples of the state-of-the-art industrial facility and business park in Iskandar Malaysia, which incorporates green building concept, wide array of business solutions, as well as synergistic smart facilities. Another important thing in attracting investment is reliable connectivity, and we are blessed with that we have 3 seaports, which is the port of Tanjung Pelepas, which is one of the most busiest port in the world. We have Johor Port and Tanjung Lesar Port, as well as one international airport, that is the Senai Airport, that connects domestically and internationally. Other than that, the good, stable and connectivity in terms of internet connection is also important. And this would connect us to most of the part of the world, even we don't have to travel. And definitely this would save time and cost. So this slide basically shows you some of our key strategic partners, whether at the government side or the private sector that we work with in order for us to achieve our vision, which is to be the strong and sustainable metropolis of international standing. I think with that, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arif. Finally, let's hear from our last presenter, Prof. Salma. Please welcome.
and wake up. So I wanted to wake everybody up. I've seen a lot of heads at the back. Makes me really sad. We should have fed you no food, or at least given you just soup. But I don't know, what did you think of the presentations? Did they make sense? Did they make sense? Right, because we're going to have a Q&A afterwards, but for goodness sake, try to wake up now. I hate it when people sleep when I'm talking. My job is to keep you awake, even on boring topics. But this is your future that we're discussing. And I think that the agenda that we have is how are we going to position Malaysia? And when I was talking this morning, I was mentioning the risks that we have. And all three presenters talked about AI, talked about data, talked about the industrial collaborations and data centers being built. So with that, I can see great potential opportunity, but great risks. The way I look at Malaysia with the 1010, which is our mission today, it is indeed a model. It is what I would call a gold standard. I am advocating many countries around the world re-examine their strategy. So we could consider the Malaysian approach as a blueprint. So it's something that you can use for the future. When you try to see where should you fit in, what subject should you study, what business or sector should you get involved in. But everything that they have all said is on the foundation of trust. If there is no trust, there is no AI. If there is no accurate data that is going to be shared, like the professor said, there will be no system. And if we give data centers to foreign organizations, and I saw China, TikTok owner, that really scares me. But it's up to you as a government to foresee and understand how do you collaborate and regulate this kind of investment, most importantly, the operations, probably by partnering with them. Anyway, the opportunity I see definitely has to be beyond Asia. One step at a time, I'm sure Madam Hazami will tell me. So we are here in Malaysia, and we are obviously in the ASEAN region, and obviously they've acknowledged, which is why you're now looking at a bigger picture for the driver. But I actually believe the opportunity is beyond Asia. The opportunity is in OIC countries around Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, believe it or not. You are a hidden gem. I think this morning one of the speakers was saying we have a gem, precious. You have something which is priceless, and that's intellect, research capability, amazing universities and institutions where people like Professor Fantil is supporting you to create and become innovators using STI, economics, but society, humanity. I want us to be able to have a paradigm shift. When I leave, everything, technology is there to serve humanity. We are not there to feed the technology. Try and make sure that is one of the things that we look at. So I see an opportunity for us to become a model. I think we need to have a marketing campaign. I saw your partners were PwC, Ernst & Young, Deloitte. Every consultancy company is a partner. So I think, Madam Hazami, we need to tell these partners, where are you promoting Malaysia? That is very important. We're going to miss the boat if we don't jump up and do it, because countries in Europe have not got half of what you have, but are being well positioned and promoted. The other opportunity I see is in small island countries in the Pacific. They need some innovations which your small states can be able to help and show how did you create economic resilience. I think one of the most important things that we should see is how do we create a strategic thinking underneath the Academy of Sciences, which is a win-win to leverage the technologies, the focus that you have, 10 technologies with 10 sectors. And I think from this morning's conversation, we have said that cybersecurity, data security is cross-cutting. Information and data and AI is there everywhere. But how do we leverage this as a strategic advantage for Malaysia? I think it's by demonstrating trust and resilience in our systems. We have the advantage of not showing that we've hurt anybody. We haven't cheated anybody. So we start with a very good position that can be leveraged, I believe, very quickly, addressing the issue of zero trust, being from the inside in a system. We need to think beyond cyber, but space. The battle for space, I'm sure you can see, some of you students who like looking at space, as I do, you can see who's in space: America, China, India, Japan, the UAE is making bridges and they've gone up. So Russia, obviously, you see who the players are. I don't see Malaysia there. The future is space. At the AI summit, we saw a very scary program, or a very scary session where a man was a CEO of a company in America, was talking about robotics, and he called a robot the species. Do you know what the definition of species is, ladies? Living, right? Do you think a robot lives? Hell, we hope not, right? So the robot is there to help us. But if you've got people out there proposing that robots are a species that will go and inhabit the moon and help us do our work and bring in the sun's energy to give us a green planet, we're in trouble. So when we as scientists here have the discipline and the understanding of research in this area, we need to speak up about it. We need to take more of a leadership role, if not leadership, active participation on these debates. I think more international cross-border collaboration at a regional level has to happen. I'm going to push the Academy of Sciences forward like I did in Geneva in some critical areas for me. Number one, I've actually listed them. Number one is climate change, but the word I like to use is climate adaptation. Climate adaptation is key. Climate change, we will not be able to stop. I mentioned it this morning, the Southern Hemisphere, by 2021, we won't be able to live on Earth. We will have to be inside the Earth. That's a scary thought. I love the sun. It is important for us to be able to see what kind of our 1010 technologies can support a paradigm shift in how we are and how we can slow down the pollution of the Earth. So look at the green, renewable, clean energies. The green economy, the clean economy, whatever you want to call it, is an open book for us to play in. And I believe Malaysia has made some great headway there. Another policy strategy recommendation is, let's start marketing what we're doing in green technology. This is really critical. Pick some projects that you enjoy at the grassroots level in these areas. The other one was in the area of the pandemic. We were very active with the IEEE to build resilience for the pandemic, COVID-19 mitigation, response and recovery. I kept being worried about the speed of technology adaptation, but at that time we had no chance and no hope. We needed to track where the disease was, and technology, satellites, everything really helped us do this. But if you can remember, did Malaysia make a vaccine for COVID-19? Did you? No. Was it easy to get? Hell no. So what the country and companies around the world have demonstrated is nationalistic thinking. Me first, you second. We had to follow international rules and laws. A country like Nigeria was only given 100, was it not 100, like a million, 10 million vaccines. You could not travel from Nigeria to Europe. If you were a businessman, a governor, a queen, you couldn't travel. You had to be vaccinated. If you didn't get the vaccination, what would you do? So we need to find a way that we play in the role of future. There will be another, unfortunately, there will be another pandemic soon. We were at the WHO. Again, we were very busy. The WHO was a global WHO review of the pandemic, future pandemic preparedness. Understand that none of the countries actually agreed on the strategy because everybody was protecting me, that trust deficit. You guys can die, we shouldn't die. So what do we need to do differently? We need to think about building our resilience. But I go back to nature, and again, alhamdulillah, you have been blessed. We should look at the tropical forests, the tropical foliage, the tropical opportunity for us to build new cures that will be natural, that will be sustainable, that would be cheap and accessible to the world. And I think that's a great untapped opportunity, the superfoods, to build our own health and resilience. These are things that are practical, and there are new ecosystems that can be created that project and propel Malaysia in the forefront. The other is in the area of cross-border trade. Happy to be experimenting tomorrow and had to drive to Singapore. But I believe that Singapore and Indonesia are two very important countries to watch on how they market themselves. Again, I don't mean to say this again and again, but we have opportunities to learn. We have one of the largest unicorn countries next door. They don't do half the job that US does. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe we're shy. But these things are very important. And the last thing I want to say, which one of the professors mentioned, was on war and conflict. We have the opportunity to create a cyber space center of excellence for the entire OIC. Malaysia is one of the countries with the technology, the know-how, and the universities. AI, I'm coming to work with you on AI. We must realize that this is here to stay, and it's going to become multidimensional in the threat vectors that will basically stop us in our footprints by penetrating and exposing our critical infrastructure, crippling us before we even begin to fight a war. So we will be dead before we begin. So we need to be, taking the word from Madam Hazami, we need a game changer. The game changer is to collaborate with OIC countries and countries that have your shared vision and value for humanity, not greed. The economy isn't it. If all the people disappear, what will we do with our economy and our blazing, moonshot ideas if there's no people left? So we need to leverage and identify, I'm wrapping up, within the 10 sectors that we have, environment, biochemistry, tick. We have a global food shortage. Supply chain, Madam Professor, identified how important it is upstream, downstream. We're working on that food resilient system, smart corridor. I'd like to be able to partner with Johor and bring them in on this global discussion. There's many components you can pick out from it that will help you. I love the economic corridor. And the word smart. There is no such thing as smart cities. Please understand, we are smart. The city is not smart. It's what we do in the city that makes it smart. I find that word dangerous. You don't want the elevator to close the door and you're stuck in it. That's a smart city. That's a smart building management system. And things like that do happen. Every time I go into the MDEC building with those electronic things, I keep thinking it's going to close on me from behind. Like, oops, do they think a Malaysian lady coming through or a big English woman? So you have to understand these things are boundary parameter driven. And the other, I said energy. So I'm picking a few sectors, which I'll discuss with the team later, that I think should be the low-hanging fruit, global demand, your strategic advantage and skills and excellence in those areas. But number one priority is you need to market yourself on the global stage much more than you do today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Salma, for your informative presentations. Okay, now we go to the second round. Okay, I would like to ask a few questions to our panelists regarding our topic today. So our first questions to Prof. Fauzi. So maybe Prof, my question is, how can Malaysian university align their curriculum and training programs that can meet the evolving demand of multinational corporation and the global market?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. It's a good question because university is a talent provider, right? And in order for our talent, our student graduated and be marketable or sought after by the industry, we need to understand what the industry needs. And of course, we cannot design our curriculum purely, for certain industry. That's, in my opinion, I've seen only one or two universities that purposely established just to suit that particular industry, which is in Korea. University for that particular industry. But there is no industry in the world say for example, can foresee that the AI will be coming soon. So what aspect of the curriculum that we should, design? That's important, right? So future ready curriculum for all. Say for example, if you produce a chemical engineer or electrical mechanical engineer, we don't know what to define this engineer. Whether you can work in the Petronas oil and gas, or you can work in the E&E industry. Because now E&E industry, they also need mechanical engineering. They also need some AI or computer engineering. So that's what I meant. So what we need to do is we should be the frontier of technology. Meaning that I do not see that the industry will dictate the university the way forward. What university should teach our talent. So we are the one university that should dictate this is the talent that we produce. This is my opinion. Some people say, oh, we should. No. The industry should know, but because we produce, say for example, a chemical engineer. This chemical engineer can work for oil and gas, can also work in other manufacturing industry, food industry. You see? So the curriculum that we design must have of course, the specific that, and then plus the general as well. It's not strict that particular industry, because UTM is not producing student to serve, for example, just oil and gas industry. No. We have 12, 13 now faculties. So each faculty have their own niche. Of course, we encourage our professors or lecturers to study their need as well.
Okay, thank you, Prof. All right. So, you have any additional comment?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
I think this is it's a tricky point, because one of the things that I believe is that there needs to be closer collaboration with industry, because emerging technology is moving so fast. And since AI, artificial intelligence, is not new. When I was in in the 70s, and we were learning we were writing in Fortran, and data analytics was around then. The tools were different. What AI has done now is that there is more data, there's more computing power, and therefore the word of the moment is AI. Previously, it was big data. So we keep moving. That is what we have to be aware of. Robotics, the next big thing in tech has to come from horizon scanning and collaboration with researchers of multidisciplinary. So I think I agree with what the professor said, is that you don't produce chemical engineering experts. You may produce for every single sector that uses that discipline, because in university, the biggest complaint from industry, I work in the middle of both. The biggest complaint today is that you don't have industry-ready students. The graduate needs a period to actually adjust and start to deliver value. So there's a greater need for that industrial year where the kids are actually working in a business. It's just like having a computer scientist that can't work in a bank right away. What are they going to do? Or people who study finance? The systems are different. So there is a learning curve which impacts the speed of business. I think the other thing which is really important for Madam Hazami again is on the curriculum. I don't know how many people here are studying computer science or cyber security as a discipline, but the word IT really bothers me. Oh, I study IT. Every Indian person will tell you, I'm an IT person. And I say, okay, what does that mean? Break it down. If we lump the heading as IT, and that's a recommendation for you to take back to education reform, you should subdivide those disciplinaries, because if you call somebody an IT specialist, they're not an AI specialist. Then neither are they a data scientist. And there's so much volume of knowledge to be learned that we need to re-examine the way we categorize these things so that we don't fall into the crack and miss that new nuance and new emerging tech that we need to understand.
Thank you, thank you. So actually the supply chain also is very important. It's not only for our generation, but for the future generations. So my second question is to Prof. Suhaiza. So how can the supply chains industry in Malaysia enhance its collaboration with educational institutions and industry to create a future ready-made or future-ready talents?
Okay, I think the current practice of many universities, we do have the industry advisors to give advice on our curriculum. You know, we have to review the curriculum in 5 years or 3 years to update what's the current situation in the state, in the country. We should be tailored our curriculum to that current, I would say, paradigm or whatever. So that would be one of the things actually what we are currently doing. We get the advisors from industry. Another thing what we can do is to be sure that the placement of our students, when they do the internship, they have been placed in the correct industry. So if they are really excited to be involved in the logistics, so they have to go and get exposure in the logistic industry. Do not put them in another sector which they might not be having any interest on that. Yeah. So of course the major subjects, the minor subjects, the concentration must be in line with what they actually been placed, for the internship. So that's something that which I think we need to filter those lists of industries where we can place them for the internships, and we will make sure within that 3 to 6 months when they go for the internship, they will get lots of experience in industry. So then they graduate, it will be like something like totally new to them. Because I used to talk to the students when I'm the program assessor. I asked them, what be you doing in your internship? I've been doing something like which not really my area. What is your area? My area is in the logistics, but she been placed in another sector, in another company, background. So again, the knowledge what she has been gained during the studies in the program is not been applied. So then will be like mismatch between the needs of the industry and also the capability, the capacities of the students. Then that will be disappointed lah. I mean, in the way that they won't get the job because they don't really have experience in that really what they wanted to do. So I think when we have this placement kind of arrangement, we have to be sure they are in the correct place. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Prof.
Datuk agree with me, Datuk Fauzi. Are you agree with me?
This is why I need to add on. I'm not. What I want to say is future-oriented curriculum or syllabus is related to this as well. When our industry or when we as a coordinator want to send our student for internship, we should be able to identify. Otherwise, we are going to waste the time of our student 3 months or 6 months. So coming back to the future-oriented syllabus is very important because some industry they're playing safe. They want us to produce a talent, a graduate ready to do the job. How come? You need to train the staff, the new staff. They need to train. They need to invest. Yeah, they want. This is what I meant. So that's why I'm encouraging university is the frontliner of the technology. Of course, we also have industrial advisory board or council in our every faculty to get their input. It doesn't mean that, say for example, if I'm in chemical engineer, I need also to know, mechanical or electrical, everything, so that when we graduated, we can work in any of the industry. No, we cannot.
Okay. All right. My next question is to Mr. Arif. Okay. So, what are some of the Malaysian government initiative currently in place to support the development in Malaysia as a business and service hub, and those in Iskandar, Malaysia specifically?
Thank you, Tuan Moderator. So, if we talk about initiative yang ada yang available in Malaysia and also can be used in Iskandar, Malaysia, there are already a lot of initiatives that have been developed to support the development of the business and services sector in Malaysia. If I can name a few of them, one is the National Investment Aspiration, or we call it NIA, where Malaysia has identified several NIA basically to attract investment and promote economic growth, including enhancing the country competitiveness, fostering innovation, and promoting inclusivity. And the next one will be on the Malaysia Digital Economic Blueprint, we call it My Digital, which is a comprehensive plan to propel Malaysia digital economy forward. It includes initiatives to strengthen digital infrastructure and to promote digital adaptation across sectors and develop digital talent. The next initiative will be on the Malaysia Productivity Blueprint, of which it will improve the productivity across various industries through initiatives such as skill development, technology adoption, and process optimization. Another initiative that been introduced by the government will be on the National Entrepreneurship Policy, which create a conducive environment for entrepreneurship in Malaysia by providing support for startups and SMEs, enhancing access to financing, and promoting innovation and competitiveness. And I believe the last one will be on the National Transformation Program, or we call it in short NTP, which basically which the agenda is basically to transform Malaysia into a high-income nation by 2035, and it focuses on various sectors, including education, healthcare, agriculture, and infrastructure, in order to drive economic growth and enhance the quality of life for Malaysians. So there are some of the initiatives that have been introduced by the government, and I believe there are more to come.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Arif. So my final questions for these sessions to the Prof. Salma. Okay, Prof. Salma, how can Malaysia leverage cutting-edge technology such as AI, big data, and then blockchains to enhance its appeal of a business and service hub?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the question, moderator, sir. I think that we've been discussing many components. I've got some very simple recommendations, I think, for the Academy of Sciences and the government of Malaysia to consider. Investing in AI and data centers that are owned by you. It's going to support the roadmap that the country has. And I think that will be a blueprint for us to boost the productivity in line with what the professor has said already. And building the capacity for a robust digital infrastructure that has the AI processing capability and the data storage needs for the future. That brings me to the other aspect, which is building sustainable and green technologies for data centers. I think that's an entrepreneur's idea if anybody wants to build green data centers, because at the moment they use and consume power, water, and space. With blockchain, I believe there's a huge opportunity. It's booming in Southeast Asia, and it's becoming a hub in the Web3 technology. So I think Singapore and Thailand are using it. We should actually have a look in this area in our regulations and integrate that as one of the startups proposed today. The second is in line with my colleague here, that supporting startup and tech innovation is really important in the area of having investment for them, the facilities to help them nurture, mentor, and incubate in real accelerators that can be lined with industry and the gap that we see that the government's pushing in technology, and encourage them. And then the other area, two more. One is AI sector specific development. Again, we saw some presentations today. I believe that logistics could definitely benefit from AI with accurate data, as you said, Professor. Also the financial sector, because Malaysia is brilliant with fintech anyway, and Islamic financing has demonstrated it's better than ESG. So we should jump on that one. And also healthcare. I think as a healthcare tourism industry, that's a place we could look at. And the last one, again, with RF here, is the digital skills. I think the skills in the workforce, we need to fast track how we do this, invest in practical digital skills that are not just digital proficiency, but digital applications, so they can actually use it, and partner with some of the tech giants to get this hands-on experience, as you have already in this area, but not only with the young professionals, but with school children, but also with mothers, to reintegrate women into the workforce with that unique skill that is missing. In AI and in cybersecurity, again, we eWorldwide launched this program in Geneva last week. We have a global initiative, and inshallah, Malaysia will be the first country where we start this. But also the elderly, the people who've retired. Let's not forget that old people, because they hit 67 or 64, whatever the number is, that they know good anymore. They have a wealth of knowledge that can bring back a holistic view of lessons learned, because history has an unfortunate way of repeating itself. So I think those were like 6 recommendations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, now we'd like to open the floor for questions from our audience. If let's say you have a questions, please introduce yourself first and mention to whom you like to address the questions. So anyone like to start first? Yes. Please give a mic.
You know, we have to be a business hub or industrial hub, you know, in the southern. What we have seen a commitment of the government itself in the R&D. You take a look at this region and take a look at how many % of GDP being spent by Malaysian government if we compare with our unicorn neighbor. We just about 1%.
Singapore is 2.2%, and it goes up to 4%, China 5%, 3% Korea 4%. So you will get that. We have all the intellectual, scholarly, as Korea, as China, as Japan. Like this. But we don't have the missing ecosystem, which is a location of the nation in money R&D that will enable us
to get the gap between the industry and the academia. So we have 2 different culture, you know. So the academia, we can last long, but the industry, no. I want to quick fix it. Tomorrow I want it profit. That goes to whatever collaboration that we have. So I think what we have to look at now, the fundamental, what is a fundamental? The GDP percent have to be right for R&D. And this have to be addressed by ASM as well. Okay? Thank you very much. And I'm a fellow for that as well.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. I'm going to jump in. Sorry.
Yes, yeah.
I really excited about the question.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. I think the GDP demonstrate where is where you put the money where your mouth is. So if the government's really serious, if the government's really serious of STI becoming an economic driver, they need to give you the money. You've got the beautiful facilities and all the professors, and what you need to do is have those researchers come up with something that's addressing a global challenge, because we will find people to take it. Rest assured, the key is the commercialization. So investment in is going to fast track your output, focused in the right area, but also making sure you have equity within the student, the startup has that nurturing environment. But I think she's asking for recommendations of policy. This is a brilliant one. And we should beat the number that Korea has. Forget the two neighbors on the side. Look at North Korea, because I think you have a lot of stronger institutions here. Thank you for that question.
Yes. Okay.
I think we have done that. The problem is the landscape in Malaysia, we are different than other countries. 98.2% of our industry are small, medium enterprises. 85% of our researcher is in public sector. We have less than 15% researchers in business enterprise. Under GDP, only 30% industry contribute into R&D. Government contributes 70%. That is the commitment from the government. What we need now is to flip the situation and to have more industry to contribute into R&D, because we want commercialization. But we don't have enough players that is big enough to contribute into R&D. So what we are trying to do now is to cluster our small, medium enterprises for them to become big players. One small, medium enterprises cannot do any difference. What we need now is for small, medium enterprises to cluster themselves to become large local companies. We cannot work in silo anymore. You just see Penang for semiconductor. If they don't address the whole supply chain of semiconductor, can they become the global player? No. We are just merely a manufacturer. So we have to move that. That's why at the academy we say we have to flip. How to flip that? Give more incentive to industry for them to build up their R&D arm. University can give all the knowledge, but siapa nak sambut? Who's taking it? If they want university to do from A to Z for commercialization, then kita tukar nama university jadi company. That we have to understand the ecosystem. Our ecosystem is different than Singapore. Singapore have 60% researchers in business enterprise. We are only 15%. So that is the landscape that we need to change. But in order to change that, now the academia in public have to work and collaborate closely with industry. We have to become their researcher, because that is the landscape that we're having now. It takes time to increase the number of researchers in business enterprise. So that is the trust that we need to build between university and industry. So we have to reach out. That's why I said, when we have idea on research, we have to do stakeholder engagement. Who needs this? Who needs this problem solving? Then we have to talk to them. Then only industry. We have done this under iConnect. And we managed to get industry to fund 53%, government fund 47%. Our target is 50-50. So we hope we can emulate this under Malaysian Science Endowment. If we can do this, slowly we can reach the target of BERT, business expenditure in R&D, to 70%. Now it's only 32%. So still have a long way. But we need to help and show to the... But all our small, medium enterprises are traders. They are not coming up with their own local products that when they sell, they have better revenue and they can move fast. So these are things, challenges that we need to change. And academia have to help the small, medium enterprises in injecting the knowledge and new product. But we have to understand their language. Just like Professor said, they need it fast. You want 3 years project, they want 10 months project. So scientists also have to collaborate among us in order to expedite the product. So these are things that academy trying to do, but we see that we have to communicate more with the researchers, communicate more with the industry, And then the policymakers, they're starting to understand right now, but they don't know where to start and how to go about, because it is a systemic issue that we need to change it bit by bit, but we have to change it based on our change of mindset of how we work. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Okay. Do you have do we have any more questions from the audience? Yes, gentlemen.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Adli from MTech. I have a question for Dr. Fauzi. So, as a Vice Chancellor of UTM, I would like to ask, do you envision UTM as the sole leader in AI education in this country, or do you see UTM setting a benchmark for other universities to follow? And for that, how do you think this will benefit UTM, especially when we have IRDA or other government institution that can closely cooperate with us? Thank you.
Thank you. Very good question. From my research group, research center. Yes, that is why the answer is yes for both. But why the Prime Minister, the government announced and given the mandate to UTM, because we have the sole leader in AI, and we also have mentor. It doesn't mean in AI, it doesn't mean that other universities do not have. Yes, they do have as well. But the history in UTM, way back in the early 2000s, we already established a center, one of it called Cairo, not Egypt, Cairo, Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics. The center was officially established 2007. But before the establishment, of course, the experts have discussed, probably they're already there in year 2000, right? And then a robotic or Robocon competition nationally, always UTM. Number one, number two, number three. Number two or number one, or number two or number three. And UTM also representing Malaysia for international robotic competition. Wow. And during the pandemic, one of our staff developed kind of robot in the hospital to send all these they call it apa nama? Apa nama robot tu? Huh? Mat Kia apa? Makcik Kia. Robot Cik Kia. You know, that's from ours. They develop our own robot. Yeah. Some part of robot been exported overseas. Right? So we also have a big data center. This big data center is also being sought after by even MDEX, MCMC, Malaysian Communication in the country, and cyber security. We have been given the mandate to train, retrain, upscale all the government cyber security staff is sent to UTM because of that. And then there's always the question like you ask, but in different aspects. Why this given to UTM? And I don't have time like now to explain. And then probably you can ask the Prime Minister, don't ask me. Why given to UTM? It's given to UTM because of the track record and the history. And we are not the only one. UTM is always PIC, like person in charge. Say, for example, we are going to have a research in many aspects like healthcare. Probably we give it to either UM or UTM to lead, UM or USM to lead. For agriculture, food, probably UPM to lead. So we are just like a coordinator at the national level. But the first faculty, UTM. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. So, any questions from audience? Okay, all right.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Engineer Sami Al-Ubaidani. I would like to ask a question to Prof. Selma. Regarding, because we have been talking previously in the morning about the use of AI in the military. So I know that you have some input regarding the issue of using the AI, especially in the ethical way, or the regulatory framework that we can put regarding the use of AI in the military. And as we see in the current war in Gaza, that it has been a lot of citing that AI and robotics has been used in order to engage with a target without even human intervention or human intervention with the equipment. So can you please highlight some input regarding this matter? And also, I would like to ask another question, please, if you allow me, and this will be open to all. So how can we highlight the means of increasing innovation and with the help of the AI? How can we do that? Can you please elaborate on this? Thank you very much.
Please, Prof.
Thank you very much for the question. So the first quick answer is I have no idea on AI regulation for military. There is no boundary there that can't be crossed. I think one of the things we talked about this morning was about the trust aspect. So I'll give you a lovely example. You've heard of friendly fire, right? So if you look at the degrees of sophistication in the military space, you have the people on the ground, which are the army. Then you have the people in the sky, and then you have the people in the submarines. So the most sophisticated high-risk people are the people in the sky. So they've evolved with their use of technology much faster than the other two parts of the military. What happens, I'm giving an example to you of a real case study from Pakistan with the friendly fire. So you are shooting at your targets and you have a Pakistani aircraft, actually no, not Pakistani, it's British and American. But their system, their automatic system, highlighted a British plane as an enemy. So the American fired on the British and killed two pilots. At one time, I'll come back. I will do a detailed presentation on AI. These are my case studies, but you asked military, so I'm going to give you that one. There was no argument that this was not known to be a friendly. Their system malfunctioned and indicated a red light that is an enemy. So if you ask me, as I said before, AI is not new. The automation of systems using technology, it's a code. It's something that we write. So it's now being called AI, artificial intelligence, but it's written and driven by people. So when it comes to the standardization in that area, we have to find who are we going to work with, who are we going to cooperate with, to then create that cyber governance framework, regulations in that space. But when it comes to national security, we don't have that true trusted cooperation. You've got the G7, you've got the G20, then you have the relationship between America, England, Canada, and Australia. So how do you then, if you are not within that framework or that circle of trust, how can you make sure that AI will not be used on you for weaponization of it? The automation of the border control between Israel and Palestine, there is nobody there. The machine gun is firing because it feels a pressure, senses that something's there. Whether it's a 14-year-old boy or a goat, it sees the weight and does a fire because it's been programmed that way. What's the human rights response? Nothing. So it's a very dangerous, tricky area, which is why I say that Malaysia has a great opportunity to, in his university, to maybe create a center of excellence in this area so that we can create common governance for humanity with AI. Your second question? The second question, I'll let Professor.
So the second question is about how we want to increase our innovation, right? And related with the AI, is it? All right.
Yeah. First, as I mentioned, AI is up to us, depend on us. If we have impactful innovation, yes, we also can create the AI. The big problem is now, without the AI, do we have any impactful innovation at the moment that we can develop, patent it, and create a product, commercialize it? That is the question now. So AI will spurs or will emerge after that. But number one is we have to have the pattern or the innovation that can be transferred to become a product. It should not be the real product first, but probably the prototype first, right? That's important. So as I also agree with Professor Salma just now, we cannot work alone. If you want to walk fast, you walk alone. But if you want to walk far, you need to work together. So this is a big problem in academia. In academia ecosystem, I'm the expert in this area, that's a problem. We need to work together. Minimum 3 to 5 researchers in one group. Among you, you have to appoint the leader. It's up to you. Then, inshallah, a lot impactful innovation, invention product are going to come up. If not, it's difficult.
Yes, Prof.
Just one more thing on innovation. I'm a great proponent for intergenerational dialogue. So bringing people together from multidisciplines to come up with a solution of when you do your innovation, it's about something. So there needs to be a vision of where you want to go. So as Professor said, you don't do it alone. You brainstorm with other people, but bring in young people because they don't have the boundaries or the blinders that we have. If you use AI in the very beginning, and this is research, you can find it on Google. If you use AI to help you with innovation, it will limit the way you think. It does not think outside the box because it's been trained on data, on lived experiences. But if you bring a young person, they will say, why can't I cross the road by jumping over it? AI won't think that way. They'll always say, go to traffic light, use a zebra crossing because it's programmed that way. So I think creativity needs to be in a very nurturing, open, unjudgmental environment. Good question.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. Okay, do we have any more questions?
Women in this room, come on, sisters, wake up. We need one of you to ask a question. And I see on that lovely table, there's ladies, just 4 ladies over there. Bismillah, ask any question you like. Don't be shy. It's really important. I keep asking ladies to speak. You've got the Secretary General and the CEO. Alhamdulillah, 2 ladies. There's 4 ladies over there. You've sat together. Please, somebody ask a question or make a statement. Was this a very interesting session or was it boring? That doesn't require too much thinking.
Okay. Okay, so maybe I will ask a few questions again, okay, to our panelists. Okay, my questions to Prof. Fauzi. Okay, what the current partnership between the UTM and industry to ensure that the students are industry ready, and how can this collaboration to be enhanced?
Just an example. Sometime last year, I visited Penang. E&E industry, so many E&E industry over there. And then I meet up with four big industries. And I came back, I scratched my head. They wanted 400 of our graduated student to work with them. 400. I came back, I scratched my head. Where I'm going to find these 400 graduates? Right? So during discussion, I have an idea. Okay, next year, this year probably difficult. Next year, if you want to cash our talent. Could you please, or could you think of having a satellite office or your satellite lab in our university? They open up in UTM. Student, even first year student, second year student, during vacation, work for them, they pay quite a handsome amount of money. Second year, third year, fourth year, third year, sign agreement, do internship with them. After that, work with them. This is how we do it. So we need to go and catch something outside and bring back to university. That's why not only locally, I myself have established, I just came back from Russia, China, Japan, Korea, Indonesia, to sign an MOU, MOA to establish satellite lab in their countries. This is the way forward. We have done that since the last 1 or 2 years ago. And the latest one is in St. Petersburg, and then China and Korea. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, my next questions are to Prof. Suhaiza. All right. What is the innovations in supply chain management are critical for positioning Malaysia as a regional hub?
Okay. With big data that we have and also data driven, we should have supply chain analytics. Yeah. At the moment, I would say that most of the universities try to develop the program. In fact, in my faculty, we have started to introduce that program for the undergraduates. Yeah, supply chain analytics is a very good one. It's very multidisciplinary because it will be combined with the statistics as well finance together with the supply chain. So it will be giving like a bit more exposure, not only the conventional types of supply chain, but now we've abandoned all those analytical skills that students will have more, I would say, knowledge in terms of data problem solving. I would say this is the one actually industries are looking at. Yeah, besides you have the general knowledge on the supply chain, but you'll be having these analytical skills to help them in the problem solving.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, my next questions are to Mr. Arif. Maybe from the IRDA point of view, can you share one thing that you feel is critical in creating the business and services hub and ecosystem?
Okay, thank you, moderator. So from IDA's point of view, I think one of the things that is very critical in creating a conducive business and services ecosystem will be the coordination and facilitation. Okay, because in creating a business and services hub and ecosystem, we requires participation and support of many parties. For example, the government and public sector, plus also the community. So when everyone plays their role and have the same commitment, we can then become and offer an efficient and effective ecosystem. And IDA, as a federal agency that looks after the development of Iskandar Malaysia in the state of Johor, which drives the growth of the region by coordinating and work closely with the government agency at the federal and Johor state level, plus the private entity and local community. And someone will need to play the role of linking the various authorities, of which IDA has been doing that, the resources and expertise to create the ecosystem. And like I said just now, IDA has been doing that pretty well since its inception. In fact, through our facilitation and coordination role, we have not only managed to kick off various initiatives and programs that contributes to a holistic ecosystem, but has also encouraged the relevant stakeholder to take over the responsibility and continue to drive the implementation of the initiative and program. So this is what we want at the end, that not only one party involved, but having the community to manage the ecosystem but also have to have everyone working together towards the same goal. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Arif. So my next questions to Prof. Salma. What are the key cybersecurity challenges that businesses face, and how can they be addressed to ensure a secure business environment?
Thank you very much. I think from this morning's discussion on cybersecurity, there is no doubt that there is millions of dollars at stake here. What I wanted to focus on, it's obviously we've heard a lot about it, but let's just talk about cybersecurity threats in the context of AI, because that seems to be the subject of choice. The AI-driven attacks are increasing rapidly through the access and the manipulation of data and the automation of multiple attacks at the same time. The tactics have changed and accelerated the threats to business in every vulnerability that a business has. The World Economic Forum has actually identified that to be the number one threat. The second one is the issue of data privacy and security. Again, because of AI can mimic you. AI can mimic your voice. So if you have these, voice automated systems of access, you're in trouble. AI can also create a fake image of you. So it's very important for us to understand that the systems that we create, AI can easily break. The data protection that we have in place needs to be more sensitive so that it can withstand that. The third risk is that for AI generated content, how do we know that this is fake? So this is an order, this is a new product. It could actually be something that's virtual and, non-real, and a business, you may fall prey into it. But the solution on the flip side, AI also has great benefits. So AI can be used to defend your systems if you use it as a tool to enhance your detection systems of what you're doing in place. It can have a much holistic, faster sweep of where you're being attacked. The second is what was discussed this morning, adopting a zero trust principle. Reduce your circle of trust to be nobody, rather than because of the different points and intersections of the work. And then collaboration and training. I think companies are going to have to spend the money to continuously educate employees about the importance of cybersecurity, because it is a behavior, it is an attitude, and it's a culture in a corporation. Unfortunately, many executives don't see that cybersecurity is something they're going to spend money on, but the tools can only go so far. And the last one is the compliance with the regulatory framework. That needs to be continuously updated to now be able to track and address and persecute cybersecurity AI violations that are enforced and experienced in Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Salma. Okay, now we would like to open the floor once again to for the Q&A sessions. Yes.
I'm sorry, I may have missed it because I went out a bit, but so I'm just going to ask Tuan Arif and Encik Arif regarding Iskandar initiative. Two questions. One is, Iskandar, does it have a focus in terms of industries that you are actually moving into? And second is, how actually is community involved, the local community, the local talents and local community? Because I'm a bit worried about bringing in foreign talents and foreign company without enough local company in the Iskandar region with the local community, being involved in the initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Terima kasih Puan. To answer your question, I think in terms of sector, like I presented just now, in terms of promoter sector, we have 9 promoter sector, of which 3 is the manufacturing, E&E, petchem dan juga and food and agro processing. Whereas on the services sector is on the education, healthcare, logistics, tourism, and also financial and business services. Like I said just now, we are moving to other sectors like EV, ICT and also modern farming and also renewable energy lah, for us to keep pace with the development and to remain orang kata sustained lah in the future. So that is what we are moving to lah in the new sector. So in terms of like the second question, like you say, in terms of investment, if you look at the 414 billion of investment, I can say that almost 60% is basically local investment. So of which I think your concern too, I think that doesn't it's not a major concern lah, because almost 60% of the investment yang we receive is from domestic investment, whereas 40% is for foreign.
No, actually my question is, do you actually want to concentrate on a niche? Because you have a broad range, right? From service, industry, education to petrochem to automotive. I mean, is there something that, you know, like Penang is like E&E, and we know that they are very strong in that and actually develop that. So is Iskandar going to actually come up with a very strong cluster niche to be able to move?
Actually, if we look at our comprehensive development plan, actually IDA should focus only on the services sector, because manufacturing sector is being driven by MIDA. So actually our focus should be on the services sector, like the government punya intention last time, they want to increase the services sector contribution to GDP. So that's why I mean IDA should focus on the services sector. Yeah, I say just now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the good answer from our panels. All right.
I have one question.
Okay, yes. One question, yes.
Just now, Prof. Nosada mentioned about local talent, right? I'd like to ask about gender disparity, men and women. Because if you look into the DOSM latest 2023 statistics, increase in Malaysia, this gender disparity by 30%. My question to any panel, maybe Salma, Dr. Salma can answer that. We still have brain drain problem, and then we have wastage of where it is costly moves to other countries, right? Okay, we lost. We still have brain drain, and then the enigma of wage gap between women and men still occurs in many sectors. My question is, will AI implementation change this phenomena? Any opinion? Thank you so much.
Oh, that is a beautiful question. It's really close to my heart. And I think that Madam Hazami can definitely vouch for me that during the UN summit last week, I had a special session celebrating global women leaders in STEM. And at that time, we launched a new initiative, and inshallah, it will be in Malaysia. I'm hoping that we can announce it the next couple of days. The issue of gender disparity is not just Malaysia, it's actually Asia region. You just went to Korea. My students, 68 of them are all men in robotics. The lecturers are also all men. I have a big problem with the fact that women don't speak. You've got beautiful voices. I don't understand why we don't speak. So there's an issue of confidence. Seriously, there's an issue of confidence. And if you take the government has to realize that you've got STEM education, for which I can see 50% of the room is full of women. They're either students or they're actually professors. But are they in the industry? And if they are in the industry, do they stay in the industry? And then are they getting equal pay? We had this discussion last night, and I was told we have equal pay based on what we do, but in the government sector. Now, private sector isn't that way. And we women, young girls, need to be able to demand the pay and not be afraid. There should be equity. The government needs to regulate this space. The other thing is, why are the gap widening and broadening in Asia Pacific? Is it culture? Is it family? So one of the things we've started, or we will start, is the reintegration of women into the workforce, so they can actually see there is an opportunity. You don't have to pick marriage, family, and no job. You can do your education, you can work, get married, and come back when you're ready. And we need to give you that right skilling or reskilling so you can address the gap that exists in the market at that time. Today, it's AI and cybersecurity because we can guarantee you high-paying jobs. So I'm suggesting women go for that. However, 10 years from now, it will be a new emerging technology. But your question is really strategic for the country that has a 50% population of women. This is not good. You can't import talent that is your own.
Okay, thank you, Prof. All right, thank you so much to all our panelists. Okay, perhaps each of the panelists can provide a brief conclusions on the topic today. So we can start with the Prof. Fauzi.
The topic is very timely, and I am very happy to share my thought. And thank you very much to ASM.
Thank you, Prof. All right, next, Prof.
Can I be simple as that? Okay, first of all, the area of supply chain is very big. Yeah, so by having AI, big data, IoT, that will help more efficient supply chain. So because we are trying to optimize our supply chain to be more efficient, more effective, more productive, so that costs can be reduced. Because nowadays, as we can see, Malaysia, we do have issues in terms of cost of living is very high. So how do we actually help government in terms of reducing the cost of living? We go back to the basic questions and how would be our supply chain is going on. Are we depending on our local supplies or are we more rely on the global supplies? We need to train more to get our products out from our local producers. Then can be reduce the cost. So then we can get all the talents from UTM, from UM to be icon, a mentor to help the industry, the farmers especially, how they can come up with the rice 5 times in a year, for example, that part of the innovation. Then we don't have to rely on India anymore to get the supplies of basmati beras. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Mr. Arif.
Okay, thank you so much, moderator. So I think on my part, I think the key takeaways is like I emphasized just now is coordination and facilitation is very important for us to achieve our goal. And again, I would like to also thank you for inviting me to this session. I've learned a lot. Thank you to the panelists. And I think that's all. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Arif. Lastly, Prof. Salma.
Well, first of all, I have to thank the Academy of Sciences and Madam Hazami for inviting me. I really enjoyed and learnt a lot about Malaysia, reinforcing that Malaysia is a great country with a lot to offer the world. The key takeaway I have is that we need to cooperate more and collaborate outside of the ASEAN region, and Malaysia needs to take an active role in determining the future policies, frameworks and strategies in the area of AI and big data, because it's obviously a foundation of your future 10-10 plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all our panelists and our audience. I would like pass back to Master of Ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fahmi and esteemed panelists for engaging discussion. I would like to request the moderator and panelists to remain on the stage. With that, I would like to welcome ASM Secretary General, Professor Dr. Saada Abdul Rahman, and ASM CEO, Puan Hazami Habib, to the stage to present tokens of appreciation to panelists. We would like to invite the panelists to receive the token of appreciation. Please welcome Technologist Dr. Muhammad Fahmi Abdullah. Next, please welcome Professor Dato' Dr. Ahmad Fauzi Ismail. Please welcome Datin Sri Professor Dr. Suhaiza Hanim Datuk Muhammad Zalani. Next, please welcome Encik Arif Kasmuri. And lastly, Professor Dr. Salma Abbasi. With that, we have come to the end of today's program. I would like to thank our distinguished guests once again for the insightful session today. A big appreciation to University Technology Malaysia, UTM, for co-organizing this program. Thank you, and until we meet again.